Peace and blessings. I'm going to be reading to you now from a blog post I wrote in 2013 on the law of suppression or suppressive therapies, the medical industrial complex, basically, and how the guiding sort of fundamental principle or force behind the medical industrial model is to suppress symptoms instead of treating and healing the person. So I'm going to read it to you now because I just kind of want you to see and hear how what's going down right now has been, in the making for many, many years. And a lot of us, especially people of the healing sciences and arts, have known of the corruption and the disease-making mechanism behind the medical industrial model, and that I'll just read it to you and you're gonna get it, but how it's a forecast basically of what we're seeing now and what we should expect to see, how we are going to be increasing disease, whether it be on the mental plane, the emotional plane, or the physical plane. We're going to be seeing an increase in severe illness. We're already seeing it on a global form in the form of psychosis, mass psychosis. Here is how that happened.
I just wanted to show you an article I wrote in 2013 about the law of suppression and the danger of suppressive therapies, in particular that of the medical industrial complex. And so I'm going to read it to you now. Suppressive therapies, homeopathy, and the state of mankind. Allopathy, a popular term in alternative medicine for the type of medicine practiced by the medical industry, yet coined by Samuel Hahnemann, the founder of homeopathy a couple centuries ago, is largely a suppressive type of therapy. Why? Because it reduces the human organism to a machine made of separate and disconnected parts, organs, and tissues that is too weak, too ignorant, and too fragmented to intuitively understand and/or fight disease on its own. This spiritless body that only holds disease in the physical realm must surrender all of its evolutionary wisdom in the art and science of survival to a foreign chemical substance that will quiet the pain or the symptoms, because lest our poor, precious, fragile modern bodies feel any sort of pain. When viewed with such a materialist and limiting lens, the body can only be treated with similar medicines, reductionist, materialist, limited, and contrived substances that will attack and subdue the symptoms but not heal the body. These come in the many plentiful forms of chemicals or biological drugs, vaccines, antibiotics, pain medications, stimulants, depressants, mood regulators, steroids, hormones, and. What happens with the suppression? The disease moves deeper into the organism, to more important organs or functions. Allopathy, with no driving scientific principles guiding its course, ultimately deepens disease, and thus we arrive at the modern human, struggling with a lack of a spiritual center, living longer perhaps, though the human lifespan is predicted to get shorter with my children's generation, but sicker, suffering from an unprecedented number of chronic diseases, sick now too in the mind, as mental illness is at an all-time high in human history. It is, as Dr. Richard Palmquist tweeted a few days ago, it is basic science. What we suppress becomes stronger. We have seen this truth in all natural and human systems. That which we suppress becomes stronger. It is also true in our human organism. So how is homeopathy different? Well, homeopathy sees the human organism as an entire or whole being functioning on several interconnected and interdependent planes of existence, the mental, emotional, and physical realms. All of these realms are powered, animated, or given life through an energetic body that expresses a disruption to its own system by manifesting dis-ease or symptoms. Thus, a homeopath will approach symptoms very differently from that of an allopathic physician. The homeopath learns to read symptoms in sets and patterns and finds a natural substance with a like symptom picture that will speak or resonate with the person's energetic body, thereby stimulating the whole into healing itself. It must be duly noted, however, that because homeopathy is too a medicine, it too can act suppressively. An incorrect but close remedy may cause a suppression in sensitive individuals. A homeopathic suppression, however, will not be as detrimental to the human organism as that of an allopathic one because, number one, homeopathy provides us with a method to antidote the action of remedies, and two, symptoms are to the homeopath like torches lighting an individual's unique disease path. The symptoms that will be brought forth should ultimately lead the homeopath to the person's correct remedy or remedies and a subsequent and permanent resolution to the person's symptomology. Allopathic chemical drugging, however, can leave permanent or irreversible damage on the mental, emotional, and or physical spheres, and there is generally no allopathic method for antidoting the negative, unwanted effects of chemical drugs except to introduce more chemical substances to the body. The mental sphere, being the most crucial to our function and survival, is most at risk in our overdrugged and toxin-exposed societies. It is no wonder that we now have societies that can leave billions in dire hunger, millions in cultures of fear and violence, and mothers and babies without home or access to water. Human history has always been stained with the madness of a few pathological tyrants, but pathology, suffering, and disease run excessively beyond the norm now. The global injustice of 1% of the human species exploiting and abusing the planet and human life, while vast amounts of ordinary people gaze only at the atrocities from the view of spectators, is just as much a pathology of mind in the collective human body as it is an illness in the mind of the individuals who make up this body. It is time we begin to discuss issues of health and disease as phenomena of the individual and of the collective, as well as of systems and of structures. Homeopathy, among many other alternative systems for health, offers deep and long-lasting solutions to the suffering of our persons and to the sufferings of our peoples, and ultimately their manifest systems. Bam! I mean, was I on it or what? This is almost 10 years ago that I wrote this.